Now at 5 and streaming on crossroadstoday.com, Goliad County authorities are still investigating an illegal cockfighting event there last month. And a neighborhood in San Antonio is mourning the loss of an elderly man who died in a house fire, what authorities think caused the fire this afternoon. And Galveston has issued a disaster declaration after persistent rainstorms leave their oyster populations devastated.
Well, we've got an interesting development, folks. The heat is going to be going to the northeast, and that's going to open up the tropical door. As soon as Monday, we may start seeing some tropical activity around here. So we're going to have to watch it very carefully. And I'll have the latest for you coming up in just a few minutes.
A pioneer of Tejano music passed away at the age of 77. You're watching 25 News now at 5. Good afternoon and thanks for being with us. I'm Karina Garcia. Today, Victoria County deputies arrested a 32-year-old man. Derek Lopez faces 2 charges, including sexual assault. He remains in the Victoria County Jail in lieu of a $100,000 bond. DeWitt County deputies arrested a 41-year-old man Tuesday. That's Jason Coates. He is charged with deadly conduct, discharge of a firearm. He remains in the DeWitt County Jail in lieu of a $50,000 bond. And Goliad County officials are still working on charges connected to a cockfighting ring busted there a month ago. Authorities tell us the cockfighting organizers canceled their events. That's because their roosters and equipment were taken by Goliad County authorities. Officials are now trying to get arrest warrants for the cockfighting coordinators. 63 people were arrested at this cockfighting event that happened on May 11th. An Edna teenager was arrested Monday. Cade Rodas was charged with stalking. He was in the Jackson County Jail in lieu of a $25,000 bond. He then bonded out. Last season, Rodas rushed for over 1,600 yards for the Edna Cowboys football team while scoring 20 touchdowns. He was a first-team all-district pick just last season. And Benedicto and Angel Jaramillo's bodies were found in Port Comfort after their shrimping vessel went missing near Magnolia Beach. 25 News Now reporter Adarius McCormick says their funeral service was earlier today. Adarius, what are the plans for the family now?
The Jaramillo family plans to host a candlelight vigil at Magnolia Beach. Like you said, Karina, Benedicto and his son Angel went missing near that beach. Their shrimping vessel capsized during a storm on June 1st. The Coast Guard, Hunter Hadley's Quest, and many volunteers searched for the father and son for days. On June 4th, Calhoun County Sheriff's Office confirmed the 2 were found in Port Comfort by Texas Parks and Wildlife game wardens. The family paid their respects for the Benedicto and Angel with a funeral service earlier today. To continue their tribute, the Jaramillo family will host a candlelight vigil at Port Lavaca at Magnolia Beach. Karina, back to you.
Adarius, thank you. A San Antonio's man's primary means of transportation may be what caused a fire that killed him. Arson investigators believed a motor-sized mobility chair somehow sparked a deadly house fire.
The charred shell of a home at the corner of Christian and Winaway Drives cuts a hole in the hearts of neighbors. It's a reminder of the man who lived and ultimately died there.
He was friendly, hello, got his mail. Occasionally we chat about the art or whatever.
Leslie Gill and her family have lived in the Southeast Side neighborhood for the past 25 years. She was surprised to return home yesterday to firefighters putting out flames next door. This morning, she was devastated after learning her neighbor had died.
Just the way that it happened, it's sad. It's very sad.
The 68-year-old, whose name wasn't released right away, apparently used a motorized scooter or mobility chair to get around.
He would come out and the battery would go down. So one day he spent about 45 minutes in the chair trying to get back.
Although Bueller Swain was amused about the problems in the past, arson investigators now believe that chair caused the fire. Crews found the victim in the kitchen with a fire extinguisher nearby.
But he was a very funny, friendly man, and we are going to miss him. As a matter of fact, his mom and my grandmother went to school together.
To Swain, he was a member of the family. To others, an important part of the community. According to people who live nearby, this hearse and limo are actually leftovers from their neighbor's previous career. They say for many years he worked in the funeral business. Sadly, those who knew and loved him now are saying goodbye to him. Katrina Weber, KSAT 12 News.
And now let's take a look at your forecast with First Warn Storm Team Chief Meteorologist Mac Bettis.
Thank you very much. In the short term, we've got a hot weekend coming up. Temperatures again, upper 90s. In the long term, we're going to have to really take a close look at the tropics. Now, you heard what happened to Florida with that massive rain. Well, that whole activity is now going to be rolling westward, and we could be looking at some heavy tropical rains beginning on Monday. And I'll have the latest for you coming up in just a moment.
Mac, thank you. A Galveston County judge issued a disaster declaration after flooding devastated the city's oyster population. Oysters thrive in brackish water, which Galveston Bay is able to provide, but persistent rain and flood water has disrupted that delicate mix of salt and fresh air, wiping out multi-generations of oysters and costing the city millions of dollars. The judge issued the disaster declaration in hopes to bring federal funds to help the industry recover. Oysters are critical to the ecosystem, filtering water and protecting against coastal erosion. ERCOT officials tell state lawmakers Wednesday that power demand in Texas is growing faster than expected. ERCOT is now forecasting power demand to nearly double by 2030. ERCOT tells state lawmakers about 60% of the new demand is from Bitcoin mining and data centers. The rest of the growth will come from hydrogen production facilities, along with the expansion of electrification of the oil and gas industries. A high school student disciplined over his natural hairstyle will file an appeal against a Houston area school district. Back in February, a Chambers County judge ruled in favor of Barbers Hill ISD after Daryl George and his family claimed his suspension went against the Crown Act. George was sent to an alternative school due to this hairstyle. Now, George says the suspension deprived him from his usual school experience. A pioneer of Tejano music has died at the age of 77. Johnny Canales' wife, Nora, posted on social media that the longtime TV host passed away. Canales has been a household name for more than 4 decades after the 1983 debut of the Johnny Canales Show. Broadcasting throughout Texas, California, Chicago, and northern Mexico, his television show featured established and upcoming musical entertainers and groups and musical acts, along with interviews. One of those upcoming talents was Selena. Canales gave her one of her first live performances, and Canales says one of the biggest things he did was to give musicians a chance by inviting them on the show. The Victoria ISD is holding a special called board meeting next Tuesday afternoon. At 3:30, board members will discuss and take action to select a superintendent search firm. The meeting is at the Administration Building, 102 Prophet Drive. Now, World Blood Donor Day is tomorrow, and it brings awareness of those who need blood donations and to encourage the world to donate blood. Locally, donations have dropped by 25%. Anyone who donates blood on World Blood Donor Day or through the rest of the month will receive some points, and they can be redeemed at the South Texas Blood and Tissue online donor store for gift cards or South Texas Blood and Tissue merchandise. To receive the points, donations must be made at the Victoria Donor Center. That's going to be at 6106 North Navarro Street. Now remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Crossroads Today. Hit the like button and click that notification bell. For now, stay with us. Mifepristone is staying on the market. Straight ahead on 25 News now at 5, the U.S. Supreme Court's decision on this popular abortion pill. Also ahead, the city of Miami prepares for more wet weather later this week. The abortion pill is staying on the market. Today, the Supreme Court rejected a lawsuit challenging the FDA's approach to regulating mifepristone. The ruling allows the pill to continue to be mailed to patients without an in-person doctor's visit. Justice Brett Kavanaugh wrote the unanimous opinion. He says doctors and anti-abortion groups do not have a standing to sue. The reasoning in the case was technical and could encourage other future challenges. This is the first major Supreme Court case on reproductive rights since the overturning of Roe v. Wade in 2022. Bringing us to your viewer poll. You can scan that QR code right there on your screen to vote. The question is, do you agree with the Supreme Court's decision on the mifepristone lawsuit? Yes or no? We want to hear from you. Come to crossroadstoday.com/vote to take part. And of course, we're going to have an update on 25 News Now at 6. Meanwhile, in the Senate Republicans blocked a bill that would guarantee access to IVF nationwide. The measure fell short of the 60 votes needed to advance. Republicans called the legislation a political stunt, saying there are no currently restrictions on IVF. Democrats say it's about protecting reproductive freedoms after the Supreme Court's overturning of Roe v. Wade those 2 years ago. Ahead of the vote, Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer had questioned why GOP senators said they support IVF but won't vote to protect it.
Protecting IVF should be one of the easiest votes the Senate has taken all year. The vast majority of senators should agree that strengthening treatments that help people start a family is a good thing. Supporting this bill should be a no-brainer here in the Senate.
The Right to IVF Act would enshrine into federal law a person's right to receive IVF treatment, as well as a doctor's right to provide it. The law would override any attempt at the state level to restrict that access. Now, it's estimated that more than 18 million people in the U.S. are cancer survivors. While advancements are leading to lower death rates for the disease, challenges do remain for survivors.
Improvements in screenings and advancements in treatment options have led to an overall decline in cancer deaths, but care doesn't end with treatment.
That fear of recurrence is so common in patients, and anxiety, depression, and even post-traumatic stress disorder is something that is well described, and I see it every day in my clinic.
Dr. Sheethal Kircher with Northwestern Medicine's Cancer Survivalship Institute says life after cancer brings unique challenges.
When you're diagnosed with a cancer, no matter where you are on the continuum and the journey, it plays a role in impacting almost every aspect of your life.
Kircher recommends cancer survivors continue a relationship with their care team that includes nurses, dietitians, social workers, palliative care physicians, and mental health professionals.
It takes a village.
Kircher says to also seek out resources available to you that include support groups, exercise and nutrition programs, and mental health counseling. Finally, it's not always easy, but ask for and receive help from caregivers.
I think the patient that does best has a whole team of internal, external, and family friend resources to help them through treatment as well as life after treatment.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
A school superintendent in Wisconsin spoke out after being shoved by a parent during a graduation ceremony. There it is right there. The parent you saw walking up the stairs was Matthew Eddy. Eddy tells officers he pushed Dr. Briggs to stop him from shaking his daughter's hand because he did not like how he handled a disciplinary issue with his daughter. Since graduation night, there have been local and national outcries that Eddy pushed Dr. Briggs because he's black. Briggs says that remains to be answered. He has since filed a restraining order against Eddy, and a judge did grant that. Now, many Miami streets remain flooded after heavy rain in the area. The rain, however, isn't quite done yet. Flood warnings are still in place for Broward and Miami-Dade County, along with a flood watch for all of South Florida until Friday. In a press conference this morning, Miami-Dade's mayor says the city continues to prepare for even more wet weather.
We've been working proactively to prepare our community since the rain started, in fact, before, when we knew it was coming. And we are working around the clock to protect our residents and our businesses. And this means preparing our infrastructure, reducing flooding in hot spots, and focusing on issue areas where we anticipated that the flooding would occur.
While a flood watch remains in effect through Friday, a slightly drier trend is expected for the weekend there.
Well, weather is now a predominant subject for everyone. Today, you know, we're not a bad day. Got up to, we're at 93 right about now. Feels like 103. Probably that's going to be our high temperature. It hasn't been determined yet. But the thing is, by early next week, and I'm talking Monday, we may see some of that tropical rain headed toward Texas. So we'll be talking about that coming up in just a moment. Stay tuned. Well, good afternoon, everyone. Pretty good looking day. We were partly cloudy. The skies looked nice, and we had a few little showers in the afternoon hours. But, you know, there's going to be big changes coming up in the next 5 days, and I want you to know that here I am to tell you about it, because don't want to be surprised by this. Now, we've been under this hot bubble for, what, a week and a half? Yes, but it's now moving. In fact, as I always said, when it moves to Chicago, the tropical door opens up. Now today, here is the system that brought the tremendous, we're talking 15 to 20 inches of rain to Florida, and it wasn't a tropical storm, it was a depression. That has moved out into the Gulf, and they're getting a little bit of a break, but they're still soggy and soaking. But what's happening now is really big, okay? There's a pattern change. The heat wave is going to be moving up to the northeast. In fact, they need to get ready for 100-degree temperatures, okay? When that happens, remember the winds are going in this fashion, right? Well, it was blocking the tropical activity. Now that that's moved, the door opens up, and we're looking at a possibility of getting a tropical system here by next week. So what is happening is that as the dome moves up, we're going to get a surge of tropical moisture. There's a 40% chance that it could strengthen, but at least, at minimum, it's going to be a broad area of low pressure that's going to shove tons of moisture into our direction. At this time, it looks like it's going to be somewhere near Tampico, Mexico, so to the south of us. They're going to get the heaviest rain. You can see it right about, see the yellow stuff right there, okay, the yellow stuff, Veracruz, Tampico. We're going to be on the north end of it, but we're getting a big surge of moisture too, and I believe that Monday, Tuesday will be fairly wet, very wet, okay? 2 to 3 inches of rain in maybe a day or two. Down here, they're talking 5 to 10 because of the tropical nature of this system. So I'm giving you as much warning ahead of time as I can. Tomorrow, looking good for Friday if you got outdoor plans. Weekend is generally quiet, looking sunny and up to about 95 in Cuero. But here's where things change on us. That's Friday, Saturday, late on Sunday night, really kind of sundown. We're going to see a surge of clouds roll in. And then I've already went ahead and put it as an alert day for Monday and Tuesday for the possibility of 2 to 3 inches of rain right here. Now, we've got rain all the way through Thursday at this point in time. So let's just say we have to keep watching the tropics, because behind that system number 2, there's a system number 3 organizing. Remember, we don't really put it all out there, but we get information that goes out about 2 weeks. And we just need to make sure that it comes together before we really go with it. So generally we give you 7 days, pretty solid. But the next week that we have here is going to be very interesting. It's going to be very different from the hot blazing weather that we had. In fact, we're barely going to get up to 90 degrees with all the cloud cover and the potential for rain. If you're doing stuff outdoors, if you've got construction or concrete or even the crops, just know we've got a big couple of days of some significant rainfall here in the Crossroads. That's your 7-day forecast, reminding everybody we do have a QR code. Love for you to scan that. Put Crossroads Today on your phone. And here's Karina.
Thank you, Matt. Coming up next on 25 News Now at 5, we're even taking a look at your stocks. Plus, one of the world's richest people is about to be worth a whole lot more. Taking a look at your stocks, the Dow down 65 points, the S&P 500 up 13 points, and the Nasdaq up 59 points. Oil up 12 cents, closing at $78.62 per barrel. Elon Musk says Tesla shareholders reapproved a pay package worth $44.9 billion that was already thrown out by a Delaware judge earlier this year. At the same time, shareholders approved moving Tesla to Texas. The two measures are due to formally take place at the company's yearly meeting this afternoon. The compensation package was worth $51 billion when it was voided by a Delaware judge nearly 5 months ago. Data released by the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics today shows that wholesale inflation cooled significantly in May. Prices were down 0.2% after a 0.5% increase the month before. The producer price index rose 2.2% for the 12 months ending in May. This comes after the Federal Reserve voted to keep interest rates at current levels. Others think this fall in producer prices may come with negative consequences. Houston city leaders have agreed to a bond deal that could cost city taxpayers more than $1 billion to cover years of back pay owed to firefighters. You can read this article on our website, crossroadstoday.com. And stay with us. We're going to take one last look at your forecast with Mac when we come back. Plus, a Disney star has been cast as a 17-year-old Australian teen in Moana. Plus, here's a look at what's coming up at World News Tonight right after 25 News Now at 5.
Tonight, President Biden on the world stage. Key takeaways as global leaders discuss Ukraine and the crisis in the Middle East, plus the crucial Supreme Court decisions. More Americans turn to World News Tonight with David Muir, the most watched newscast on television.
An Australian teenager of Samoan heritage will star in the upcoming live-action version of the hit Disney movie Moana. 17-year-old Catherine now cast in that leading role. Her IMDb profile shows just one other listing for 3 episodes of the TV series The Lost Flowers of Alice Hart. She says she's honored to celebrate this heritage and all people from the Pacific Islands, and adds that it's an honor to represent young girls who look like her. She will star alongside Dwayne Johnson, who plays Maui, and this movie is set for a July 2026 release. So we got time to watch it. How do we feel about these live action Disney? They're doing a lot of them.
I think they're great, and that's a big break for that young lady. I mean, apparently it's
17.
It's her second appearance. Wow.
And for Disney, oh, she's got it in the bag. Good for her.
Big. Well, congratulations to her. Well, folks, we've got quiet weather for the weekend. That's Friday, Saturday, and half of Sunday. By Sunday night, I'm thinking that a lot of clouds and a lot of moisture will start coming in. This is tropical in nature, so I expect heavy rain on Monday, Tuesday, possibly even to Wednesday, Thursday. As you can see, I have 2 alert days. So if you have anything planned outdoors, construction or cattle or whatever, you just need to consider that I think it's going to be soaking wet on Monday and Tuesday. And so we'll certainly be here watching it for you.
All righty, thank you, Mac. And thank you for being with us. We hope to see you back here tonight for 25 News Now at 6. World News Tonight with David Muir is up next.